Hello, people of the internet. This is Andres Perez, aka KaijuNoir.
And this is the one and only Enshohma. And we're here to do a review of Deadpool on my channel.
And once again, I am here to collaborate with this guy once again.
Indeed, indeed. So we just got out of Deadpool, and the plot is a bunch of stuff happens. There's some nudity and violence. People die.
People swear.
People swear, and that's the plot in a nutshell.
So basically, jokes are made, bullets are shot, knives are sheathed.
And hearts are unbroken.
Indeed, yes. So for once, Fox didn't fuck up.
Well, nah, they didn't fuck up this badly. So as you know, I kind of have a recurring joke with Andres that I'm not the biggest fan of 20th Century Fox, regardless what they make. And not only that, I hate to say it, everybody, I'm not a big fan of the X-Men based movies. Already, I see the lynching mob gathering around the car. So, but no. With that said, this is definitely one of the better X-Men films, even knowing that I honestly don't think it was the bee's knees that everyone's making it out to be. But at the same time, I did have a fun time with this movie, and I usually don't like, well, it's like I like rated R movies, but not with, actually, never mind. This was gratuitous, but it was good gratuitous. Damn it. This is moral ambiguity all over again. So.
Ambiguity.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen.
Ambiguity.
Welcome to my freaking channel, ladies and gentlemen. So...
And so, just wondering, well, what has been your history with the character of Deadpool?
I've been familiar with the character for a while, mostly through a Deadpool-obsessed fan/acquaintance named Justin, who I think who is probably way more obsessed about Deadpool than he should be. He's also horribly obsessed with drinking and the fact that he's Scottish. So,
hey, laddie, he's right up my alley.
Oh no,
he can drink and fuck whenever he wants.
Uncle Scrooge McDuck, what are you doing here? So, oh wait a minute, was he Irish or Scottish, or was it the other duck?
I don't know.
I don't know. Who cares?
I think the Irish, they tend to talk like this,
Okay, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, I've been familiar with the character. Only in recent years, though, have the character really shown himself in multiple cartoon appearances, both on children's shows and non-children's shows, such as that X-Men versus Weapon X thing.
Hulk versus
Wolverine. That rather well done short film.
That's where I first found out about Deadpool.
Yeah, I've seen Deadpool around before, mostly through Justin, but I really just ignored it because I hate to say it, most comic book fans are just doing measuring contests of the you-know-whats with, oh, my character's better, so I usually just kind of ignore pretty much any talk about American comic books, and another reason why I never got into comic books, along with the complicated stories that you'd never find in a kaiju film, isn't that right? KaijuNoir? So, but then the character became more popular, video games, short films, and everything. And then they announced a Deadpool movie, and I just...
Like back in 2007, right when X-Men Origins came out?
Yes. Unfortunately, that film seemed to be in development hell for ages until the test footage, quote-unquote, leaked on the internet. Yeah, right.
Like last year or 2 years ago?
Under 2 years ago.
I think it was 2 years, because I think it was I actually attended Comic-Con 2 years ago, but not last year.
Yeah.
And I remember it was near the end of Comic-Con weekend, and then it just so happened to show up.
Yeah. So yeah, if anyone says that accidentally leaked, it's BS. They were just testing the waters, and it worked out. And it worked out beautifully too, because the final film was a lot better than I was expecting. It wasn't as bombastic. Thank you. As I was expecting this to be, especially with the business and the reviews it's been getting.
I think it was only made for either 30 or 50, or anywhere between 30 and 50 million dollars. I want to say 56 the last time I heard. And this is my third time watching the movie. I've seen it with Pete. I've seen it with family. And this is my third time, and I've noticed it on the third time that there are very few action sequences, and also there are very few sets that were used. And the majority of the sets, I guess this is due to me taking so many film courses, but I noticed that there are a lot of enclosed sets, enclosed environments, and especially ones that keep repeating over and over. There's the bar where all the mercenaries hang out, there's Deadpool's house, there's the blind lady's house, Al, and the street, you know.
Yeah, as well as a lot of convenient empty junkyards.
Oh, and the Chinese district, they show that a lot.
Yeah. Now that's kind of a two-folded argument / double-edged sword. On one hand, more power to Hollywood finally kind of reeling in their insane budgets and making
do with what they got.
Yeah, high concept movies on low budgets. Nothing wrong with that, and I'm totally okay.
And I guess this movie has more of an emphasis on the writing than it is on the spectacle.
When I meant by bombastic, I meant with the Deadpool character, I was expecting more cartoonish sight gags and jokes throughout, as opposed to we'll get to the extended origin story in a moment, But at the same time, the double-edged sword is the fact that, again, it's a movie from 20th Century Fox, and they pull this kind of cheap-ass settings all the time, even with their big-budget movies. Like, for crying out loud, the Fantastic Four movie, that was a big bomb last year or the year before, whatever. Yeah. That took place mostly in the same kind of warehouse you see Deadpool taking place.
Very true.
Yeah, so again, it's hard to tell if they were being very smart about the budget and the production, or if it was just 20th Century Fox and it just worked out for them this time. So their Roger Corman shtick actually worked in their favor this time.
Well, let's be honest, you don't need over $200 million for a Deadpool for a movie like this.
Yeah, and since this movie's doing so well, their plan, from what I understand, they are still going to do a second movie on a low budget. But, which is, again, good idea, guys, because the budgets in Hollywood, I wouldn't be surprised that, secretly America's going down the drain because Hollywood is sucking up all the money. And there's this
Don't worry, it's our military that's doing the majority of that.
It's everybody, let's just face it.
Everybody sucks.
This country is just one giant money hole ruled by Scrooge McDucks left and right. Anyways, yeah, America.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, but, No. They're planning on doing a second movie. That's already confirmed. They keep saying they're going to do it on a low budget, although I think they might have a little more leeway considering how successful this film was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but also in Hollywood, R-rated movies don't do as well as they used to do back in the 80s.
I mean, back then, I guess anywhere from like the 80s, we had a lot of those R-rated action movies. In the 90s, by that time, we had films like The Terminator, The Crow.
Right.
And even into the early 2000s, we had the Punisher movies.
But notice that in during the 1980s, those R-rated movies were much bigger budgeted, much more prestige pictures.
Right.
Whereas in the 90s, you had a lot of R-rated movies, but the budgets were getting lower and they were less advertised. And then in the 2000s, R-rated movies were not as rare as NC-17, but definitely kind of a dirty word in Hollywood.
Because they want to get as many butts in the seats as possible.
Oh, exactly.
Especially when it comes to genre films or like high concept genre films.
Yeah, in fact, I think a lot of the recent hoopla about a PG-13 version of Daredevil had less to do with oblivious parent groups and children wanting to see the movie like the Children's Crusades than more the fact that the studio was just trying to sneak in a PG-13 version to get more money. So, but let's face it, it's like, people are dumb. They'll go see anything.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it at my theater. We've seen it at your theater. There are people of all ages who are still going to who are seeing Deadpool, and they will see it either way.
Yeah, exactly. I was surprised to see some little kids. Oh, well, to be fair, they were accompanied by their parents, so I can't really be too upset about that. Although, like I was telling you before the movie started, there's that ridiculous backlash from a lot of people who went in thinking it was going to be a happy-go-lucky superhero movie of the PG-13 variety.
Which the Deadpool himself acknowledged within the film itself.
Yeah, and within like the first 10 minutes, it's like, my boyfriend said this was going to be a superhero movie. That guy just got shish kebabbed. But no, it's like there is this real ridiculous backlash of like, people angry that, I wish there was a rating system telling me this movie was not meant for little kids.
Like, it's on the fucking poster.
Yeah, exactly. And
same thing with people who complain about violent video games. Like, oh, GTA's, doing horrible things. There's an M rating on there.
Yeah, and there are tons of other video games. Just because something's popular doesn't mean you just buy it.
Even comic books, would have that label where it's like mature only.
True story. At the local comic shop near my house, the Comic Bug, again, where, whatever. I was going to say something insulting, but I won't. They have this whole wonderful section for family-friendly comic books and kids comic books.
Oh yeah, I've seen that in my comic book local shop as well.
Yeah, and it's right in the front, in the little play area where the kids can hang out. And yet the parents, holding their kids by the hands, will immediately bypass it and go all the way towards the very far end to look at the scary, mature-rated comics at the far back.
Looks like the days of Spawn hasn't changed at all.
Yeah, oh, exactly. It's like, it's either parents don't know any better, or because I'm an artist and I'm much more intelligent than all of you, and I have a much more perceptive mind and eye, I'm able to notice the difference there. So, I'm sorry, am I insulting everybody again? The monkey people of this planet disgust me. Oh, about Deadpool.
Yes, the movie.
Yeah. So the movie itself, I enjoyed it, and it was pretty good. Again, it wasn't as bombastic or as wacky as I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to get a couple of dream sequences and some real bizarre humor, like something out of Anchorman 2 or the 21 Jump Street films of recent.
Yeah, it didn't. You're right, and I think it's something that what was his name? I forgot the person's name, but he has a YouTube channel called Your Movie Sucks. And he mentioned before in his review of Deadpool how the style of the film itself seems rather standard for Hollywood action movies. It doesn't have its own unique look and feel like you would expect out of, say, like an Edgar Wright film or... I'm forgetting the guy's name who directed Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, James Gunn.
James Gunn, it doesn't have its own, it has a very standard presentation that makes it feel, outside the dialogue, it feels very, as I keep saying, very like by the numbers.
Yeah, exactly. And it is an unorthodox superhero movie, which is nothing new. We'll get to that in a moment. But it definitely... By the way, the robot sounds you're hearing, we have to open a window. It's getting hot in this car. We don't want people to think otherwise. But anyways, no, the funny... Like you were saying, again, it's a double-edged sword. Is it supposed to be a standard movie to ease us into the insanity of the third act? Or is it just Fox 11 being Fox 11? I mean, 20th Century Fox being 20th Century Fox.
Are you thinking about, like, Fox 11 News?
Yes, exactly. They're responsible for all superhero movies ever made. So...
Yeah, actually, this film was directed by Bill O'Reilly. You may not have known that.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, at least I got one of the nicer, scary Republicans on it, so that's not saying much. No, I'm sorry, everybody. You all suck.
And, you're also... in terms of the story itself, it isn't as wacky or as, like, over-the-top as you would expect from the character Deadpool. It feels, like, very toned down in order to adjust it for... I feel like the source material was adjusted for mass mainstream audiences. I mean, even Deadpool himself, they kind of humanized him more. They made him more relatable. They made him more sympathetic. They gave him a full backstory.
Now, I absolutely have nothing against the idea of making Deadpool much more likable and relatable,
especially
and
since he's the protagonist that we're supposed to root for.
Yeah, and he's a hilarious character in the comics, but some of the things he does is pretty horrible. Yeah. And in this movie, he does do some horrible things, but you do see that he's a little ashamed about it, like those...
Yeah, he has a conscience.
Yeah, like the spider monkey joke with during his whole montage of trying... By the way, I'm going to do my best to keep spoilers to a minimum, but...
Oh, this time.
Yeah, this time at least. But yeah, that hilarious little comment he made about spider monkeys while interrogating those two Asian girls.
Yeah.
But no... But again, is it just 20th Century Fox, or is that they deliberately did the movie that way? And you do see a more wild Deadpool movie in the beginning and in the third act. But I hate to say it, and this is more of a personal preference and a problem with Hollywood, but maybe... Do we always have to do so many origin stories in superhero films? Like,
funny enough, even Deadpool once again commented on that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm going to get a sweet movie deal. That's a great thing about superheroes. They get an origin story. They later get a team-up movie.
Yeah, and I get that joke, but still, we did spend a shocking amount of time in that laboratory/torture chamber where Deadpool is created. And again, it felt, even though it may not be the majority of the movie, it really felt like it. Now, I have nothing against with all the other parts of his backstory, including the building up of his relationship with, what's her name?
I forgot. What was her name? Was she played by Gina Carano?
No, Gina Carano was the sexy, scary, monstrous gargantua chick.
Yeah.
No,
Less angry Rosie O'Donnell.
Yes, less angry Rosie O'Donnell. Angel Dust is the name of that character. We'll call her
love interest.
Love interest. I was going to call her goddess prostitute, but
funny enough, Angel Dust herself says, "I know her," which makes you go, "Huh? I wonder how."
Yeah, exactly. Actually, a lot of nice-looking girls in this movie. So.
Oh yeah,
definitely. So that was a big help. But just to let you know, something. So. But no, I really enjoyed the movie. But again, it's like just a long, extended intro into the origin story just kind of annoyed me because that's all you see in Hollywood. Even sequels to superhero movies are just retreading origins over again. That's one of the problems I have with a lot of the Spider-Man films. And if it's not the superhero origins we spend too much time with, it's the villain's origins. You know, it's... so that kind of upsetted me a little bit. Annoyed me, actually, would be a better way to put it. Other than that, I did enjoy the movie quite a bit. I am looking forward to the sequel because now that we got the freaking origin out of the way, we can go and have fun. And you definitely see that in the third act. Just Deadpool being Deadpool. And it's funny because one of the criticisms a lot of people have, most notably one of my favorite online critics, Movie Bob, is the fact that Deadpool should be taken in small doses and should not be a major character in a movie.
That is the case, especially when it comes to comic book Deadpool, where he's so over the top, he's just spouting jokes left and right, he's making life difficult for everyone, and overall he is the comic relief. And what a comic relief character does is he's supposed to be a relief from the actual plot. So when you have the plot based on a character who's supposed to take your attention away from the plot, you know, it's kind of like a conundrum there.
Yeah.
So which is why, again, like I mentioned before, how they toned him down, they made him more relatable, and I feel like that worked especially for this movie. I think that's an extreme positive right there.
Yeah, especially when you have to deal with this character for over 2 hours straight. It's like it's like watching one of the least remarkable Bob Clampett Warner Brothers cartoons for like 5 hours straight in a row. It's gonna, you know, those are already kind of hard to sit through on their own.
And I guess that's like a major difference, like especially if you look at this movie and Deadpool in this movie, you look at the portrayal of Deadpool in the Deadpool video game, where he's like, I do what I want, and he has no consequences for his actions at all. Whereas with here, this is a story about a man who wants to do the right thing, but he just keeps fucking up and making things worse for everyone, and he knows it.
Yeah. On the other hand, though, he does do some things I do support, because let's face it, there are some. He said it best. Like, he's a bad guy who screws over even worse guys.
Yeah.
And and also I don't want to get into spoilers, but I am happy with the way the movie ended and got rid of one of those cliches, because let's face it, some people are just too evil to live. At least in a fictional universe, and in real life, there's morality and complexity, but still.
Speaking of which, I really love his dynamic with the two X-Men in this film, Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Oh yeah.
Where like Colossus, he's portrayed as like the goody-goody two-shoes, the guy who always follows goes by the book, who's kind of like he follows everything that you'd expect from your standard superhero movie.
Exactly.
And he's he looks like a kind of character who isn't used to being in an R-rated movie, because he vomits when people dies, he gets uncomfortable with nudity.
Oh yeah.
It's really funny. And
go on.
I was just going to say, I also like Negasonic Teenage Warhead, simply because A, her name rocks, B, it was pretty cool to see a New Mutants outfit in live action for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's a nice little, of course, it's the stereotypical angsty teenager who it's also lampooned on, but she's kind of serves as like the middleman between the two extremes with Deadpool and Colossus.
Yeah, and very much like Deadpool, she has a human side to her, so, she's a much more likable character. I love that little exchange Deadpool gives when he's saying goodbye to everybody.
Yeah.
But about Colossus, though, it's clearly he's in there to be sort of the spoof of what people think superheroes are, movie and otherwise. He's clearly, like the fact, there's one scene where it's almost like Superman doing a PSA about breakfast. But at the same time, knowing Colossus mostly through his many cartoon appearances, because again, I wasn't much into comic books, but I did watch a lot of the X-Men cartoons back in the past, and I have visited a lot of the other X-Men cartoons afterwards.
That's the great thing about cartoons, though. They're very neatly condensed versions of the comics.
Yeah, but at the same time, that is Colossus.
Yeah, basically, he's a very humble individual.
Yeah, no,
who takes great pride in his work.
Yeah, he's a giant metallic man, but he's also incredibly friendly, incredibly polite. You know, the scene.
He's like the hard giant, but he's the giant with a heart of gold.
Yeah, exactly. And it's he's less of the comical foil / stereotype of a superhero, and it's just Colossus being Colossus.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people who are unfamiliar with the character just instantly assume that, oh, he's Captain America or something like that.
Even people who have already seen the X-Men movies probably don't even remember Colossus.
Oh, yeah.
Considering how he's just Metal Man.
Yeah.
Action sequence set piece number 5.
You know, it's ironic. I think the reason they avoided doing Colossus as a major character in all his past appearances was to save money, and now here we are with a much more lower budget X-Men movie that the Colossus was one of the major characters. But
always in CG metal.
Yeah, always in CG metal.
Actually an exaggerated comic accurate body proportion.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't mind it actually.
Not at all.
Yeah, it's not convincing CGI, but when you have a likable character like that and he has plenty of
it works.
Yeah, when he has plenty of screen time, screw the effects execution. I'm just happy he's there. So, but no, with that says, I really did enjoy the movie. I want to say it's a little overrated with all the hype that it's gotten before and after, although admittedly that advertising was superb. I have to give credit there.
Do you remember when he smashed Mario Lopez's head when he announced it was PG-13?
Yeah. That was one way to, oh kids, this isn't going to be your usual movie. And after that we just went with but I also love the advertising where that wonderful poster, like a new kind of superhero, it's just Deadpool in a friendly sweater looking all happy. It's like
a new class of superhero.
Yeah.
Taking a photo op.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of which, let's give Ryan Reynolds his due.
Yeah, he's been fighting for this movie ever since 2007. This guy clearly had a lot of love and passion for the character.
Yeah.
And this is an actor who clearly, he was not in it for the money so much as he wants to do it because he loves doing what he does and he loves making other people happy.
Yeah.
And he just puts a lot of extra, the movie is solely reliant on his performance, and I feel like he knocks it out of the park with this one.
Yeah. He's always been a big fan of Deadpool, and of course there was that whole debacle with Wolverine Origins. But more to the point, I think Brad Jones, the cinema snob, said it best. Ryan Reynolds is just very likable. He's, even if the movies he shows up are bad, and he's been in quite a bit of bad movies.
Let's see, like Green Lantern, Blade Trinity, or X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah, romantic comedy 1143, romantic comedy 114338, romantic comedy 1444822.
What does he have that's actually good? Van Wilder. Van Wilder.
Yeah. But anyway, Van Wilder 1148229. Anyway,
did we mention Van Wilder already?
Yes, I think we haven't mentioned Van Wilder BA.
Right.
So, anyways, but yeah, he's appeared in a lot of underwhelming movies, but he's always been a very a highlight of those films. He's always been likable, and it's great to see him finally star in a movie that's definitely made for him, because he's snarky, but he's lovable, and let's face it, he's a handsome looking man. It's like, no offense, the one thing about the movie that didn't work for me, but this was more just execution, he's not that ugly after he becomes Deadpool. Let's face it, he looks like, it's like he looks like a sexy Freddy Krueger. It's like a friendly sexy Freddy Krueger, it's he's a good-looking, horrible, scarred monster. So I don't know why people would give him such a hard time about it.
No, this is America. We judge everyone harshly on their looks.
Yeah, and in the X-Men movie universe, usually human beings are the worst. With that said, though, I do have to admit, there were moments of that where one of the things I can't stand about the X-Men movies is that all human characters, without any mutant abilities whatsoever, are usually portrayed as two-dimensional and usually never in a positive light. And you do get moments like this.
I'm not sure. No. I don't know. I don't think they never even touched upon it in any serious way in terms of the relationship between humans and mutants.
No, well, yeah, you pretty much summed it up right there. And not only that, but the few times we do meet pure humans, again, it's never in a positive light. So much so that it almost makes Professor Xavier look like an idiot compared to Magneto.
Well, there was Deadpool's entourage of characters.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing I was going to say. There's outside one or two scenes that kind of annoyed me, like the Wade Wilson down Chinatown, which is, you've seen that kind of crap in an X-Men movie over and over again. Human beings are the worst. It was wonderful that a lot of the human characters in this were major supporting characters, and they were, for the most part, decent people, despite, having somewhat screwed up hobbies, like cocaine and prostitution, and actually nothing wrong with those at all, ladies and gentlemen. Just try them.
Running a bar for mercenaries.
Yeah, running a bar for mercenaries, betting on who dies first. But but otherwise, Sesame Street wonder people. That's what they are. But no, it was nice that, again, one of the things I love about Wolverine Goes to Japan, the second Wolverine movie, was that there were some good human beings, finally represented. And there was, but again, that's something that was very refreshing. I'm finally happy to see that in the X-Men movies. Hopefully we see more of it in the near future. But no, I enjoyed the movie very much. A little overrated, though, so don't go in expecting insane hype, especially if you're a Deadpool fan, ladies and gentlemen. Although I doubt that's going to sway you at all. And
I guess people are going to come in expecting Deadpool, and that's exactly what they're going to get.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool, but no, I enjoyed it a lot. I'm looking forward to the sequel. And again, it's nice to have an X-Men movie that doesn't piss me off.
I guess overall, for my thoughts, I highly enjoyed the film. I think it's worthy of all its praise. The story itself, it's not going to blow your mind. It's not going to, be the defining thing that's going to, be the defining action comedy of the generations.
Yeah, that's the one thing I want to make mention of. A lot of people are making a big deal saying that this movie is revolutionary and we've never seen...
Only because we haven't seen that many, big, successful R-rated movies. I mean, I guess the last thing we can look at is, Watchmen, Dredd, and both of them were kind of...
Even those kind of underperformed, but more the point, there's been many R-rated gory superhero movies before, movies that R-rated that has superhero moments, and there's been plenty of irreverent, silly and comical and self-deprecating superhero movies before. I think this is just the one that got the most attention at the here and now.
I love what James Gunn said in a recent interview where he went out of his way to say, listen, the reason why I know what's going to happen here, people are going to pay attention to Deadpool's success and think, oh, it's because it's R-rated, and they're going to follow, they want to create that, make that into a trend, but that's not it. It's because there were people, decent people who were there and actually worked on the film and made it the success that it was.
And so, again, a little overrated, but I enjoyed it immensely. I am looking forward to the sequel, and hopefully, like you just said with James Gunn, if they do make more superhero movies, let's be a little silly, let's be a little offbeat.
Let's get a little experimental.
A little experimental would be great. Maybe abandon those freaking origin stories. So
we'll see, because there's been a lot of talks about the third Wolverine movie being R-rated, and now there's rumors about Old Man Logan possibly getting adapted.
Oh god, oh man.
Well, I guess that would be the proper send-off for
Hugh
Jackman's last Wolverine movie.
Yeah, that is true. But again, I kind of like to see slightly more positive, happy elements in my otherwise dreary and grim freaking X-Men movies. So
maybe we'll expect that of Todd McFarlane's supposed Spawn movie.
I was going to make a little joke towards the terrifying movie where Batman and Superman kill each other for 2 hours, but sure, we'll go with that. So.
All right. So to just wrap up my thoughts, as I said, I enjoyed it. You'll definitely get what you paid for.
Unless you're an obsessed Deadpool fan, then prepare to be disappointed.
It's definitely that very specific type of cynical and over-the-top style of comedy that combines lots of violence, cursing, and all that stuff, but it does so in a very tasteful manner. It's not just characters who are just swearing for the sake of swearing. It all kind of blends incredibly well together. So if you're into that style of humor, then you're going to enjoy this film.
Since you mentioned it, there are some R-rated fantasy adventure movies that actually are kind of bizarrely family-friendly in their own right. Kingsman, the recent Kingsman movie is a good example. Or
what do you think of Kick-Ass?
I've never seen Kick-Ass, unfortunately. Okay. I was also going to mention Army of Darkness. Those two being very good examples of R-rated movies. But no, Deadpool is a little more extreme, although it doesn't get as bad as maybe some of the movies we mentioned. But no, for the most part, I did enjoy it very much. So just go and be a little cautious, because this isn't a little kid's movie, but a smart little kid might enjoy it. So one who can handle some of that stuff. A lot of nudity and sex though, and I'll give praise to that. So because I'm Enshohma. So, but no, if to end this review, if I was to rate it out of the 4-star system, which I believe in, as opposed to your filthy heathen 5-star system, on the first showing, I would give it 3 stars.
Okay.
Good. I'd have to rewatch it again to assess it now, but for the most part, good. So definitely worth watching.
And judging by my obviously superior 5-star system,
damn you!
I give it a 4 out of 5. It is definitely a film that is worth owning when it comes out. It's definitely worth multiple viewings. I can say so for myself, having watched it for the 3rd time already. And it's a movie that's certainly going to stay with you if you are a fan of the character or if you're a fan of this style of humor.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you like the X-Men in general, and you like a movie that just pokes fun at itself and the superhero genre as in general.
Yeah, especially the grim and overly serious ones, like the X-Men movies.
Or the overly complicated timelines.
oh God.
Who? Stewart or McAvoy? Christ, I can't even tell these timelines.
Oh my goodness. It's like, I especially hated that last X-Men movie where Mecha King Ghidorah showed up out of nowhere just to fight Magneto. Where did that come from? So,
anyways, where can people find you, Enshohma?
You can easily find me on this YouTube channel you're watching right now, or just do a Google search for Enshohma, Enshohma. With that same name, you can find me on enshohma.deviant.com, or my blogspot, Enshohma Corner. Damn it! Did I say blogspot twice or something? Whatever. Just put Enshohma in the Google search engine. You'll find me.
Put Enshohma in the Googles, and you'll find him.
All right. Let me rephrase this. You can find me on DeviantArt at Enshohma. My blog is called Enshohma's Corner, and my
blogspot.com.
Yeah, whatever. Just Google it.
Ambiguity.
Shut up. And my my Facebook page is Enshohma Lives. Whatever. So, internet. I'll put all our links in the freaking description below. Just go there.
And you can find me on my YouTube page, KaijuNoir, KaijuNoir. You can also see me on Zazubar's channel on the Sons of Sarazawa podcast. And you can also check out the Facebook group that both Enshohma and I are a part of, called Toku Legion, formerly known as Toho Nation. We changed it just to give ourselves more identity, to separate ourselves from Toho, and give it a more all-encompassing name.
Yeah, worked out.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And you can also check me out, my workout, on the Sons of Sarazawa Facebook homepage on, Facebook.
Yeah, so blah, 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 techno crap, blah, blah, blah. So that's pretty much my thoughts on Deadpool. Thank you so much for listening to my channel. And KaijuNoir, thank you so much for doing this with me again.
Absolutely.
Okay, hopefully we might do this again in the near future over Skype, since you will...
I got big plans up ahead.
He's got big plans across the sea to visit Mr. Godzilla in his homeland, so to speak. So, all right, so that's pretty much it. Thanks for listening, everybody, and take care.
See you, everybody.